All right, hey coaches. Just want to talk triple gun offense today. Talking about the install order and specifically sort of our level one install. So some of my youth coaches have been talking about what plays do we have, what's our playbook look like, and obviously a youth playbook's going to look a little bit smaller. So we really tried to get as organized as we can and get a base template of what to install at each level as you get comfortable. So here's what we have. Here's what we put in. So if you look basically at our first 10 things that we would teach, I would say most youth programs can get away with just that. I think they'd be just fine. And then for us at the high school level, I mean, shoot, most of our touchdowns and big plays and that kind of stuff comes from this. We could operate in this area in almost any game, I'm sure, if we really coach it right and do things right. And then as we go, here's our level two. We'd have more formations and a few more little option plays and run plays and add a play action pattern and all that stuff. So it gets a little bit easier at the high school level because you have more time to practice, and there's more reasons for different play action patterns and different quick patterns and all that stuff. And then here's our level 3, level 4, and level 5. But today we're just going to talk about level 1 really. So the formations that we're gonna teach are what we call ace, tight, taco, ends, and receivers. So if we hit those formations, we're going to cover ace, which is just 2 slots, 2 ends that are out split. Tight tells one of the ends to become a tight end. So if we called tight left, it would be the left end would come in. Tight right would obviously be the other, and that leaves us with 1 split end. If we want to call double tight, it would be the same thing, just on both sides. So that's ace and tight. All right, taco, ends, and receivers. All right, those are some of our key unbalanced formations. So with taco just means tackle over or tight end over, and that would take the left end, move him over here. So we're playing with a tight end on this side along with an end. Still allows us all of our movement from our slots. Ends is very similar to taco, except that the end that comes over is not a tight end. He'll come over and be an end about halfway between the tackle and the end. And then receivers is our way to play around a little bit with who's eligible. So this is the one time where an end will actually step off the line of scrimmage. They'll trade here, and the slot that's in the same spot, he'll step up, the end will step back, and what that ends up doing is it allows us to choose which 2 guys we want eligible if we want to throw the ball out of those formations. So obviously in ends, the end man on the line of scrimmage is eligible, and he's eligible. He is not. If we go to receivers, we just shift them up. He becomes a tight end. Can't motion him anymore, but we have a lot more flexibility with what we can do with those. So honestly, I think we could go into a season with those 5 formations and just keep messing around with shifts and be just fine. So between ace, the tight variations, and then the unbalanced stuff, I think is really what you need. All right. For our motions, the only 2 motions we really need at the beginning are wrap and jet. So we just tell these guys, hey, from your slot position, if it's wrap motion, you're sprinting 1 lane deeper than the quarterback. Your shoulder should scrape the quarterback on the backside. For jet, this probably isn't the best drawing, really. We want to sprint to the lane right in front of the quarterback. So if your shoulder could sort of scrape the quarterback on the front, that's jet. If you can do it on the back of the quarterback, that's wrap. So on a lot of our triple options and dives and that kind of stuff, we want this man sprinting flat. It's the tailback's job to get out of the way. If he's running triple, it has to be fast enough where he's out of the way and we can continue on with what we're doing. So that's why it's important. We don't want this guy having to go super deep and lose his speed. We want these to look as similar as we can. So those would be the 2 main motions. All right, and then we'll get into some plays here. So I'm just going to talk them through, and then we'll hit some film with it. So triple is our go-to option. We have 2 run plays off of that. We have dive, which is, it looks a lot like triple. It's just blocked a little bit differently, and we know we're giving the dive. We have jet, which is our outside handoff play. The blocking is pretty similar to dive as far as going towards our gap. We're just going to make it more of a reach. We can play action off of our triple and our jet. So our go-to play action play is called stretch. It's really a vertical type of play that can turn into more like a comeback and a hitch and that kind of stuff. But it's really just trying to score a touchdown. Our quick passes, we would install hitch and hitch and go, just so that we can always get the ball quickly out to a wide receiver if we have a corner playing off. And then the screen, draw, or trick play that we would put in is just our dragon option, which means we can throw a screen to either side, or we can run a quarterback draw. And with all that stuff, I mean, I think you got a pretty good offense ready to roll, especially when you start playing with different formations and all that. And then obviously we have to install our punt and our field goal and extra point. For us, we pooch punt almost all the time, so we can do that out of different formations. But we teach that as an offensive play, and we want to make that as similar to our offense as possible. And then field goal extra point, we still treat it like an offensive play, but we kick this pretty classic field goal style. But it has to be in the install, and if you're doing all that, I think you're in great shape. So let's take a peek. All right, a couple big plays here. We'll just sort of go through some big ones, some touchdowns, stuff like that. So here's an ends formation. We have an end over, and we're going to run jet to that side. And we end up getting a long run out of it. So our offensive line is going to reach. Our slot is going to go to number 2, which if you can look at our count videos where we talk about how to count our players. 1 is always the first guy on the tackle. 2 is the first guy outside to on top of him. And 3 is going to be the first guy outside to on top of him that isn't covered here. So in jet, we just need to know that the slot blocks 2. We'll hit those plays in more details, just so you can see what kind of stuff is leading to most of our touchdowns. This is 2 years worth of film, and a lot of the same plays keep showing up on these big plays, on these touchdowns. All right, so there's a jet. We get jet motion. We had an ends formation, and it worked out for us. Okay, now we have a jet. We do this out of our ace formation. So again, these are all formations that we've done that we showed there, right? Ace, tight, taco, ends, receivers. And there's a jet that goes. Okay, we have a taco. So this man right here is officially the left end. He just comes over and plays a tight end spot on the right side. We're going to run triple. So now the quarterback has the option to give keeper pitch. He gives on here because we're going to read, right? So you hear me a lot on triple videos. Here's 1, here's 2, right? There is no number 3, so number 3 becomes linebacker to free safety. One goes outside, so we give the ball, and because we're in the shotgun, we have that cutback option. All right. Stretch. Now here we are in receivers. So we've done a lot of ends, and we have some trips, formations, and stuff too. I think that's more second level, but we've done a lot of ends where this man is here and this slot is here. So now we can change that, just like a lot of teams do. And the opposing team obviously needs to know who's eligible, who's not eligible. And in this case, we've left this man in ends ineligible a bunch of times. And now we have him eligible, and we can run our stretch pass. Okay, and in stretch, it's pretty simple. We're going to run a play action where it looks just like triple. Okay, and then what's going to happen is the number 2 receiver is always the first priority. We're looking to just throw a vertical to him down the field. Then if he's not open, we're going to look to the next receiver to the same side, and we tell him he's going to try to also run a vertical. If he's covered, he's going to run an in if he's to the field, and if he's closer to the boundary, he's going to run a comeback after about 10 yards. So he's at 10 yards, he makes a decision whether he's going to run a vertical or he's going to run the comeback or in based on where he is in the field. And then if that's not open, we'll throw to the swing down here. And if that's not open, we run QB draw. So real quick, it should be stretch to receiver to swing to draw. Okay, we have to our next one in a formation that we talked about. Okay, so we have tailback screen. Excuse me, that's going to be our next one. Let's hold off on that one. Okay, this is our triple that goes to a pitch. Okay, now, just so we get to a hitch, we can run hitch out of anything. We happen to have it in a trips formation here, but let's get it going. So this is Gator. This is our hitch and go. So in this one, you'll see the line is going to block towards the hitch. The running back is going to go opposite. So what that ends up, that should quickly look like triple, because you'll see a lot where we step down, the running back goes that way. But in this one, we're catching, and we're just looking for a quick throw on the other side. So beautiful play right there. Obviously, this gets set up by throwing a lot of hitches too. So, if we had called hitch right there, try to teach both at the same time, we're just looking to throw about a 5-yard hitch. And then we have hitch and go off of it. So if you have both those things and you have a good receiver, you can get that done. Okay, dive. Dive is a lot like triple, except what's going to happen is the linemen are going to block towards the play. Instead of away where we read, we're going to block towards the play. And then the key block here is the tackle and the slot should pretty much be double teaming the number 1. So the number 1 who we read and read and read when we run triple, when we run dive, we want to send him to the goalpost. So we call this a shopping cart block. We want the slot to be pushing on the hips of the tackle like a shopping cart, so we can push him through. And if we can get the tackle and the slot inside of number 1, we have a pretty good chance, especially if the inside backer is scraping over. And that one turns out pretty good. Okay, our end zone film is not super close. Let's see if we can look in here. Okay, so we see that right in here, the slot can get inside the 1, which allows us to go right through the middle. All right, and now dive plays start going for a long way. So you have to set that up good with triple. You have to be able to run triple really well so that free safeties and linebackers respect you and they want to get over the top and stop all this outside stuff. And then you block it a little different, and the dive phase can be pretty good. Okay, here's another good dive for us. So in this case, here's the number 1. Can we get the tackle inside of him? It looks like it. And can we get the slot inside of him? Yes. So really the tackle had him good enough where the slot actually could get inside. So this is going to be good. would have liked to see the quarterback follow his fake a little better, make it look just like triple. Just keep running. Okay, so we've hit jet, we've hit dive, we've hit triple, we've hit stretch, we've hit hitch. Triple dive, jet, stretch, hitch. Really, the dragon play is pretty simple. Okay, for dragon, all we're going to do here is we're going to either motion him over, okay, or we could start in trips. But for this one, we can motion him. Okay, so if we motion him over, okay, then what we'll do is we'll either throw a screen, to this man. We'll also have this guy running a quick flash route, which means we can throw the screen to him as well, or we can have the quarterback just run quarterback draw. So the way we would block it as a half slide, and we would call this dragon left. So dragon left would mean that the blocking scheme would be a half slide that side, which means we're going to block out on the number one. The guard is going to go onto gap away. So we're basically sliding the rest of these guys to their gap away. All right, and then the tailback will fill that spot just like he would on play actions and all this other stuff. He'd block this. He blocked that backer there. No matter what, if we're running quarterback draw, we're always going to we're going to pump fake it away. So if we want to throw one of the screens, we just throw it. So if we're throwing to this man over here, we're just going to catch, step, throw, get it out there and run that screen. If we love it over here, we just like the one-on-one matchup where he's really deep off, we can do the same thing, catch, step, and just throw it over here. And like I said, if we want the draw, then we want to pump it away. So we want to pump it right and then follow our tailback through. And the way we know whether where to throw this ball or where to run this ball is based on overhangs. So if there's an overhang that could be a problem out here, we know that one's out. If there's an overhang that outnumbers us over here, right? If they had shifted out so much that they have 3 and we have 3, now we have our answer. We know we should go in the box. If they kept this guy inside and we can block this overhang and they only have 2 for our 3, then we can throw it over there. So it's just kind of counting where we go. So if you get smaller guys, younger guys, they're probably not going to be as in depth with this one, but definitely a good easy one for youth football, for JV freshmen. Just having a quick screen, being able to screen either direction or run a draw, and you get more plays out of it. So yeah, so that pretty much wraps it up. We'll talk punt another day. We'll talk field goal another day, but that's really most of what we do. I'll go maybe with a longer playlist someday, but that's pretty much what we do, and we'll get some diagrams up soon, and reach out if you have any questions. All right, thanks guys, have a good day.